Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. I hope you had a good Easter. Happy April Fool's Day. Be on the lookout for April Fool's jokes that people throw your way. Silly news stories, things that are unbelievable, that sort of thing. Myself had a good Easter. Went over to my brother's house. His sister-in-law, his sister, take two, David. My sister-in-law, his wife, had her sisters over. One's living in England. It was just a good time. Good time. Hung out there all afternoon. Went out to dinner tonight. Got home a little after 9 o'clock, and I'm pooped. But I want to get at least one reading in before calling it a night. CNN had an article about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, it's a week before Congress gets back into session, but she's still making noises about wanting to oust Mike Johnson. And apparently Mike Johnson is now consulting with Matt Gaetz, of all people, to figure out what he needs to do not to get kicked out as the speaker. And they're going to hinge everything now on Ukraine funding. And Mike Johnson's going to be between a rock and a hard place, because if he cuts all the funding to Ukraine like the extremists want, he won't get any Democrat votes, and he may not get all the Republican votes on it. And if he passes it in its current form, he won't get any of the extremist votes, and he might lose some conservative votes, but pretty much the Democrats have signaled they'll support it, which means he only needs like one or two Republicans to support it. And I think that support's there. So does he want to do what's easy, or does he want to do what's politically expedient for him? And by easy, I also mean what's right. But nope, Marjorie Taylor Greene looms large in his lifetime. So let's take a look here. First off, Mike Johnson. What are you going to do about Ukraine funding? Entertainment purposes only. Let's see what we got. Page of Pentacles. Okay. We're talking about funding, money, things along those lines, crossed with the Ace of Cups. The strong passions and emotions, and looking towards the future. It's a reasonable thing as we start discussing the funding with Ukraine. The Democrats absolutely want this funding. Now, mind you, this is funding for Ukraine, Taiwan, the Palestinians, and Israel. So it's not just Ukraine, but Ukraine's going to be the sticking point, because it appears that half the Republican Party is owned and managed by Donald Trump / Vladimir Putin. So we've got a couple of dictators telling 25% of the House of Representatives what to do. And then another 25% of them don't seem to have a collective backbone amongst a lot of them, which leaves 50% or 49.9% of the House, which are Democrats who are supporting the United States, 25% which are supporting Putin, and 25.1% supporting Putin. 25% don't have a spine between them. So we're going to have some issues. Causing him some anxiety. In the past, we've got the drunken hillbilly brawl, the Putin faction in the Republican Party, causing all sorts of chaos. This is all the chaos with the budgets and the former speakers. And the House is, with the Republican one majority lead, it's just a house in turmoil. Current situation are the agreements. This could be Mike Johnson reaching out to Matt Gaetz to try and figure out what to do. This could be him reaching out to conservative leadership to see what he can do. It could be him reaching out to Hakeem Jeffries and seeing what the Democrats could do. In some ways, it makes Mike Johnson look a little weak, because he doesn't know which way the political winds are blowing. But I guess if you don't ask, you won't know. My guess is, given the information we've got, that he's been talking with Matt Gaetz, and then you've got the Donald Trump lion over here, this is probably him in discussions with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, the extremists, in the Putin-controlled faction, the 25.1% of the House, to figure out what he can do to appease them. Overarching energy is, again, the Six of Cups, appeasement. What can I offer you, the little blonde-haired lady, that we can make nice and play nice together, type of thing. So in this case, Mike Johnson, much like Kevin McCarthy, isn't striking like a leader. He's striking like a page. He's not leading and telling. He's leading. He's in the leadership role, but he doesn't actually lead because he has to give gifts to people, much like McCarthy did. Well, what do you do? What can I give you to vote for me? Type of thing, and everything's transactional at that point. The lesson to be learned is justice. I would love to say that he will do the just thing. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is kind of, you get what you deserve. You wanted this role, you got put in this role, and now you're going to get what you deserve. I'm not saying that Mike Johnson, in his weird financial situation, how he has no bank accounts, is being looked at by the Justice Department. That would be an interesting little connection. Right now, I will just say that he's going to get what he deserves, or what he's earned with the Republican Party. Outcome is the King of Wands. Also a card I use for the Department of Justice. He's got to make a decision. If he wants to lead, he's got to lead. If he doesn't lead, he's going to be replaced by somebody who will lead. And he's looking to his future. So if he's, I guess you could say, if he's going to put on his big boy pants, now's the time to do it. But if you haven't been wearing the big boy pants, it's a little late now to try and figure out if they fit. So he's in a bit of a problem here. He's running out of time. He's got a week to sort of cut his deals and make his decisions. Again, it would seem to me that he could probably get about, at least 50 conservatives to support him in the majority of the Democratic Party and easily pass these budget bills as stated. The Democrats might even offer to support him if he's voted to be ousted over this issue. So that, again, he would only need one or two Republican votes if the Democrats vote as a bloc to keep him in place. I was listening to Kim from Intuit View yesterday, and she was saying she sees the Democrats maybe offering to help him because right now Republican dysfunction is so massive that the campaign ads write themselves. So let the public see the Republicans struggling, fighting within, getting nothing done, and let the public decide that they really don't want to reelect these people into the House of Representatives. So what will Mike Johnson do? We got a week to figure it out. What's it look like he's going to do here? This card tried to stay on top twice. Little four-carder. The Emperor, he's going to try and lead. Or he's going to be told what to do by Trump and Putin. We got the Fool card. I think it's going to be him trying to lead. Look at all these major arcana here. Okay, he's going to try his big boy pants on, and he's going to try and be a House Speaker. It's going to be about the funding. It's going to be about the Lovers, the Fool card, and the Queen of Cups. If I were just reading this straight up, this to me would be bipartisanship. This would be doing something different than what he's done before. And this is putting a cap on your emotions in order to get this budget through because it helps lots of people. So if I were reading this straight up like that, I would say he's going to try and lead. He will probably do the funding for all four at the same time. He will get bipartisan support from the Democrats and the Republicans. This will be something new and different, trying to, put your big boy pants on and lead, and, keeping your emotions in check. This is what needs to be done. This is the way it's going to happen. We're going to get done with it. That's the high energy. The low energy is more tyrannical. It's about, instead of friendships and relationships with people, it's about divisiveness. Us versus them. Foolish decision, letting your emotions run the day, and not appreciating what you have or what it is of value that's being offered. The thing is, this funding, the war that's happening in Ukraine is weakening Russia. The longer it happens, the more Ukraine destroys Russian military equipment, the weaker Russia is, and the weaker their foreign policy is, because they're going to have to spend money replacing everything that they've built, and their economy is not doing great, and now their infrastructure is being hit. So there's a real urgency from Russia to wrap things up over here, because they can't take much more of it. If the U.S. approves that funding such that it's going to be a long, protracted war, Russia can't stay. They cannot finance it. So that's why Putin is trying very hard to prevent that funding from happening, because Russia right now can throw enough bodies at Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't have the artillery to blow those bodies up as quickly as before. So Russia can basically slowly grind their way forward. Ukraine has built defensive structures to help protract the war and hopefully staunch the Russian advance until funding is approved. And in which case, again, you're going to have an intractable war, and it's going to be difficult for Russia to afford that. So they've got to work on the U.S. Congress to stop this funding. And every day that's delayed is a day that helps Putin maintain this war. This war, the ceasefire ends soon after this funding is approved and things stabilize. The minute Ukraine can launch as much artillery shells as Russia launches, then Russia loses the positions that they've gained. Ukraine starts marching again, and Russia starts wanting to have peace talks. That's kind of how it would go. All right. Marjorie Taylor Greene, when I last read on her, she had all the implication that the minute the Congress was back in session, she was going to, which is going to be April 9th, she was going to bring up a motion to vacate. What is her current situation or current plans with Speaker Johnson? Page of Swords. She's telling the media that she's keeping it close to her chest and only telling a few people, but this to me is like, I'm going to swing this sword around. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it type of thing. She wants to tear it all down. This could also just be that she doesn't know what she's doing, and she's going to cause the collapse of the Republican control of the House. She doesn't know what she's doing. Basically, the social media clicks versus the value of the Republican Party. Her actions are causing all sorts of turmoil in this situation, and it might even cause two Republicans to flip, such that Hakeem Jeffries is now your House Speaker, because they just can't do it anymore. They just cannot deal with the crazies like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I do think that if she does go through with this, there are going to be some Republicans who flip, and they will vote for Hakeem Jeffries just to put an end to this madness. I wonder if that would also lead to their resignations, kind of like what's just happened with Ken Buck and Mr. Gallagher here. In the past is the Chariot. This has been a process that's been building up. She's been more and more dissatisfied with Mike Johnson. She said on the Friday, the 22nd of March, when the House was just leaving for recess, its 2-week break, that that's when she filed her her motion to vacate the speakership. She just hasn't brought it to the floor yet to force this thing through. Current situation is the Eight of Swords. I don't know if I'd say Marjorie Taylor Greene is being held hostage to her own words. To me, it seems more they might be telling her, "Don't do this. You need to stop. You need to really think about what you're doing." To me, though, this is her holding Mike Johnson hostage. Don't you dare do things that I don't want you to do. Now, mind you, she is a walking advertisement for Dunning-Kruger. Somebody who has little intelligence or expertise in a field. They have a little bit of knowledge, and then they think they're an expert on it. She's not smart enough to know that she's not smart enough to know. So she thinks she's an expert on things. I don't think I like how this next card's coming up here. Overarching energy, yeah. She wants to bring an end to this guy. She's holding him hostage. She's threatening to end his tenure there. I suspect she might have 8 to 10 people that will support her in vacating him from that position. It's just a matter of time. When is she going to pull the trigger on it? She will pull the trigger on this. Whether it's Tuesday, April 9th, when the Congress is back in session, or when they announce that they're going to debate the funding, or after they approve the funding, she's holding on to the timing of it. It's going to happen regardless. There's nothing Mike Johnson can do that will prevent her from pulling the trigger on this because she's unreasonable. She's not realistic with her expectations. She wants it to be her way or the highway, and she's one person out of 435. But she thinks she's the only one that matters. Out comes the Four of Swords. She might wait 4 weeks. She might wait 4 days. This might be Johnson being left. There's this contemplation here, this waiting. I think she's just waiting to see what happens, which is, no, again, it's going to happen. She'll just lie in wait and it's like, no, do what I say. It's just holding him hostage. No, if you move the wrong way, you're going to hit these swords and you're going to bleed because it's going to be my swords here. Look at all these swords on here. I wouldn't say he's not going to last 4 weeks before she brings up articles to remove him as the House Speaker. It's not really articles, but before she brings that motion to the floor and forces it, it could be 4 days or 4 weeks. It's kind of what that 4 is, I think. And she's holding him hostage. She is absolutely holding him hostage. Not a bright woman. Just, yeah. It doesn't bother her. She's in a very protected district, very red district, and she's got all sorts of name recognition, and they're not going to vote for a Democrat in that district, so all she has to worry about is being out-radicalized by another Republican, and I don't think there's a Republican out there right now that can out-radicalize that woman. Let's see. So they come back on April 9th. By May 9th, first week of May or so, that's 4 weeks after they're back. What's the status of Mike Johnson? 4 Carter. Being held hostage. We have the Five of Coins. It's almost like the Ukraine funding still isn't done yet. He's out in the cold. Something's out in the cold. Some people are outside of the institution. Maybe he's threatening he'll be kicked out of the institution, or it's the freezing of the funding for Ukraine and Israel, Taiwan, and Palestine. Yeah, it's still about the money. Trying to figure out the money situation here. In the star card, his star is falling. Could be the Star of David. And the I think he, you know what? I think in 4 weeks' time he actually passes it. 4 weeks' time, he's passed the funding bill. He's now a star because he got the funding to Israel. It might be there's a decrease in the funding, or now that he's got the funding passed and he's a star, now comes the move to kick him out. Transitioning. You're no longer going to be the Speaker of the House. We're kicking you out. Marjorie Taylor Greene's holding him hostage, and here come the votes. So I would guess by 4 weeks from now, we should have a funding bill passed for Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, and Taiwan. And Marjorie Taylor Greene will have brought her motion to the floor to vacate Mike Johnson. I will read on this again as things get closer and dicier. For now, we'll just leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your likes, shares, comments, everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so this video makes it out to a wider audience. To people just finding this channel for the first time or recently, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you found us. Thank you very much for all the comments and letting me know when you've first discovered this channel or if you subbed. I really do appreciate it, and I do try to acknowledge those to make you feel welcome and to start the interaction in the comment section. I do read all the comments. I put little hearts on them when I read them. Sometimes I heart comments that I don't agree with, but I don't have anything to say against it. Sometimes I'll just reply to them. And oftentimes, sometimes I only have a few words I can throw in there because when you've got 150 comments or something like that, it takes a while to get through all of those. But I do read through all of them. I do try to make that connection with you guys. And it's kind of, the channel is still small enough where I can do that. One day it may not be, but that day is not this day. Anyways, thanks again for all your support. I really do appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.